fashion, music, wellness.
And don't forget sex.
Mostly sex.
If it's trending, they'll be talking about it. Trend Radio is right here.
And right now, I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
And we always have something great to say.
Because it's us. So stay tuned.
You'll be glad you did. Elise, we've got a very, very interesting guest this
Don't we
morning.
always have interesting guests?
Yeah, but this one's really interesting.
I know. I'm so excited.
And we're going to learn so much more about him.
I can't wait. And especially, I have to just say this one thing. When I was having the conversation that I was having with him on the phone, I remember I got off and I was like squealing. I was so excited.
She really was.
I was so excited.
I thought she was doing one of them sex line things, and she was being
Stop
paid
it.
by the minute.
Oh my God. Okay.
Well, you're not doing
just...
that anymore, do you? Because I know you were. That's when you were driving those fancy cars and
Listen,
stuff.
I still am.
Okay, I know.
I'm just smarter with my money now. Anyway, we would like to welcome James Scanlon.
Alrighty,
He is an author. He wrote the musical adventure of One Shot Billy, and I can't wait to hear all about it.
Also a songwriter.
Yes, he wrote all the songs for this adventure.
So, tell us a little bit about you.
First, we got to clap.
Hi! Yes, we need applause out. Don't forget the applause, okay?
Well, thank you for having me.
We are thrilled to have
And
you.
your vetting process was very interesting. Anthony calls you and says business stuff, and then Elise calls you and flirts with you.
She's good at that. I'm
That's what
telling
I
you,
do.
she makes a lot of money on those phone calls.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm good at it. Anyway, tell us about One Shot Billy. Okay, give us something.
I believe everyone should try to inspire a brighter future, and that's what I did.
I
My
love
choices
that.
were either write a book or start selling light bulbs.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Well, you want to light up the world. You have to do one of those.
Try to inspire a brighter future. So knowing that the state of where we are in the world, I look at life as you're either a giver or a taker.
We were just-
We were just talking
having
about
that
this.
conversation.
And there's so many takers out there
Yep.
So many.
that it's just becoming an imbalance. And if you look at nature, nature has this inherent instinctive balance of give and take. And it
Yeah.
creates a circle of life. But when there's too many takers, there's an imbalance. So I decided to write a story, a fun story, encompassing that. Also make the main character sing so it could have a life beyond just a book. So in the story,
What a great idea.
I wrote 15 songs for the story as I was crafting in my head. And then when I crafted the book, which is different, I used 11 of them. So all the lyrics are plot forwarding moments in the story where the main character
Love it.
sings.
Love it. I want to read this book. I can't wait to read this book. Can I read this one?
Sure, you can have that one.
Oh, thank you, then. How come you didn't sign it?
Maybe we'll do that at the end.
You have
Depends
to
how you
sign
treat me.
He's a smart man. Don't put your signature on anything. Love it. Okay.
So you do more than write books.
Commercial real estate is the way I was able to get enough money
Okay.
to be able to do that. 8 years ago, I set aside commercial real estate and embarked on this mission. And it took me a long time to write the book. It took me a long time to write the songs. I have a loving wife who supported me and a daughter who I was
you're
really
lucky.
doing it for. And
I love that.
and then I learned some hard lessons along the way that, the internet isn't as productive as people think as it relates to spreading the word. So you having me here today, I really appreciate, because I think it helps spread the word much more than pushing a couple buttons on your keyboard.
Well, you know what? We're happy to have you here because we also love to inspire people. And so we are so happy to have you here. I have to take a moment, though, off the book for just a minute. When we were speaking the other night, before you agreed to actually come here, you were telling me actually, about your TED Talks interview. I'm very excited to hear all about that. How did it go? How were these people? I'm truly a fan. So I would love to hear how that went for you.
The reason I stayed behind my keyboard was I had a fear of getting out from behind my keyboard and approaching people. And I think that's a common occurrence for most people. And I think I have this theory that the best public speakers are somewhat immune to thoughtfulness and things like, they just say whatever they say and don't worry about what comes out of their mouth, i.e. politicians.
Mm-hmm.
They just are great orators, and they don't have, I'm a very thoughtful
filter.
person. And sometimes that works against me because I'm worried about making a good impression, saying the right thing, all those things. And when you're worried about being judged on that level and thinking that you care that much, it makes it difficult. So when I decided, it really happened in a band. Grey Harvest is the name of a band that's out of Brielle. And I was introduced to them by their producer. They said they heard about my project and they knew some of the music. They listened to the music. They said, we're going to a hospital in Brooklyn for kids that have serious issues. Would you come and play a song? And I've spent 40 years in my basement writing and playing guitar, and I never played in front of anybody.
Wow. And you didn't think to bring your guitar here?
I did think about it, but I hope that you'll invite me back again. And
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Do you cook?
do I cook? No.
Okay.
My wife cooks.
Okay, just wondering.
I like to cook, but
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Go on. I'm sorry.
So it blew my mind that they would even ask me, and I care so much, I can't say no.
Sure.
Right? So I'm going to break through this barrier and play my guitar in front of people and sing. And when they went, it was a drop of a hat. They just said, we're going tomorrow, and I couldn't be there. I was with some family members out of state. So, but it inspired me to the degree that I have to go out and embark on this mission to inspire people and to go. So I wrote a program called Choices and Voices. And it's for a young audience, and I crafted it with the help. Do you know what Toastmasters is?
Yes,
No,
I do.
I
You know
don't.
what Toastmasters
Yeah.
is. Toastmasters has been in the world since 1924, I believe. Started by a gentleman in California at a YMCA. And it's about people supporting each other, making speeches, getting in front of people. So I joined.
okay.
I never knew about it either. I got on the internet and I looked up public speaking. That's the first thing I did. And I
Okay.
found a course in Brookdale, the community college in Monmouth County.
Right.
And the professor was a former president of Toastmasters. I go, what the heck? That's a strange name, right? Toastmasters. So
But I
looked,
get it now.
I
when
look
you
it
know-
up, right? And they
Yeah.
said contest tonight.
Oh, so you went.
Yeah, without really understanding what I was doing. I met, it was 200 people there. It was a contest. There was food there. And I just sort of sat in the back. And they had a gentleman comes up to the stage. He was a guest speaker. And you probably won't be able to see this at home, but he holds his hand in his pinky up to his mouth. He goes, ring, 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 and then clutches his heart. And then does it again, ring, 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 and clutches his heart. And he goes, the scariest sound of my life, all my life, because I knew I could not answer that phone because I'm a stutterer. And he starts to give a semi-eloquent speech about how Toastmasters has helped him overcome his stuttering
Oh my gosh.
problem. And it was, 5-minute speech, pretty good, 55-year-old man. And afterwards, like Alex Trebek in Jeopardy, right? The first round, they go, it says on your dossier that you like to, cook. What is your favorite dish, right? The orator goes up and says, it says here that you're into software. What do you do? He goes, woo, 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 woo. He could not talk. And you could feel the whole crowd like, you can do it. And I go, oh my God, this place is so powerful right now.
Wow.
I got the
Everybody
chills.
was
The
like,
energy.
yeah.
and I was like, oh my God. So I joined. And when they found out what I was up to, the president, Elizabeth Mancuso, was really helpful to me when I was writing this program. And then I just started calling day camps. And I did my first presentation at Seashore Day Camp. In fact, there's a film I put on the internet of that. And then I started doing autistic schools. So
Love
over the
this.
summer I did, and again, it's a heavy lift for me, like just putting myself out there. So not patting myself on the back, but if I could do it, you could do it.
You know what the thing is that you should pat yourself on the back and be proud of what you're doing because you're doing something with the intention to inspire goodness. And that's amazing.
But the thing is, you're saying that you're not good at this, but I'm telling you, from the second that that we met, it didn't appear to either one of us that you had any difficulty.
Do you know who Sam Harris is?
No.
Okay. Sam Harris is a neuroscientist. He's always thinking about how crazy is the brain? We
Crazy.
tell ourselves things.
Crazy.
I know yours is.
Mine is totally crazy.
But
It's the best, biggest computer that there is.
But we tell ourselves stories. that are just crazy.
Like making up movies in your
or no, like telling you're
imagination?
not good enough, like saying that you don't have it, like really putting these roadblocks to keep you in your safe zone.
And that is why
I've been telling myself that story forever.
And that is why it is so important to tell yourself good things. There is always a way. Every day. Every day in every way.
There's
You're
always a
getting
way.
better and better.
So
Yeah.
I'm 57. I embarked on a mission to become better only like this spring. That's when I started, isn't it? And now I just did a TED Talk
Awesome.
audition in front of 200.
I know. So
Is that and now we're here,
that's
right?
amazing. That is amazing, though. So how did that go?
Very interesting. It's the Paramount Theater in Asbury Park.
Oh, we love that place.
We were just in Asbury the other
Okay.
night.
So my rap is really visual. So I say, look at this line, always in front of me, running straight up my spine and perfectly centered between give and take signs. Right? And I
wow.
talk about this line, and you're either on the give side or the take side. So it's very visual. So when they accepted me, which I heard there were many applicants and they only accepted 11, which I am proud of that.
You should be.
I said I needed a headset. And I used props because I put a construction cone with a give sign in one, a construction cone on the right with a take sign. I run caution tape down through my legs, and behind me I have the word choices written on an easel. And I always say I'm under construction, just like everybody else. I haven't worn a hard hat yet for fear of being the YMCA. But, they go, nope, no props. And I go, well, then I need a headset. Nope, hand mic. I said, I can't use a hand mic because I'm like doing this.
Yeah.
It's not really a speech, it's a performance. And, the best we could do is give you a mic stand. So that was a little, I had to overcome that a little bit because now I have to pick the stand up and move it and do that thing. But I wish, looking back, I'll give you that. When 200 and some people come in and you're coming up, I was number 8, I think. Your mind is just flying. If you're me, your mind is just flying.
If you're anybody, your mind's flying.
I'm upstairs pacing repeating it's a rap, it's a rhyme, it's 5 minutes, so it's long, just making sure I have it down. And then it's like T-minus. If I could just calm down, and give myself my mantra. I can't curse on the air, but my mantra is I don't give a bleep. You know what I mean? I just tell myself, I don't give what's the worst that can happen.
What's the worst that can happen?
When you get up
Exactly.
there and there's so many lights in your face. Now, the other interesting thing is because it's visual and linear, I imagine being on stage and having people in the seats. They didn't do it. They flipped it around where all the seats were on the stage. So the stage, I'm standing back to the seats, looking at the back wall of the stage, and they have seats from that end of the stage all the way to that end, which is really wide, right, for all the rigging and stuff. So when I'm doing this linear thing, there's people all the way down there, and there's people all the way down there. So I'm trying to address everybody, and I think I did okay. I think
sure
I did.
you
But
did
when you
great.
replay again, the brain I have, dude, you could have done so much better. You know what I mean?
But if you think about it, though, out of all the people that want to be on TED Talks, and only 11 were chosen, and you were one of them, that's huge.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that.
I know.
Yeah.
I watched that.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible.
I don't pat myself on the back that easy. I pat myself on the back for my wife and my daughter. That's what I pat
awesome.
myself, because my wife is awesome and my daughter is awesome.
How old is your daughter?
She just got into high school. She should run the world. She's so
I say that about
she's so
mine.
smart and thoughtful. She is like such a nice person. But my wife is
that's awesome.
my wife is awesome. So that's when I'll pat myself on the back. Everything else, like when I was in the studio in Nashville, I don't know if you know much about Nashville. Nashville's split up in a couple different avenues. Nashville's split up with the guy that made a lot of money, who comes down there, who always wanted to be a rock star or a country star, wrote some songs, and they suck him into the system, tell him how great he is, take his money, produce a song, and send him on her way. Thankfully, I didn't get into that side of it because I knew an attorney, a young lady that I had met at Rutgers. I used to run the concerts at Rutgers for 3 years, so I brought all the music and the bands to Rutgers. And
that's great.
One young lady had told me, she's really smart, says, I'm going to be an entertainment attorney. And I lost touch with her right after school. I never talked to her again, but it always stuck in my head. So when I came up with this concept, I Googled her, and she was like an incredible attorney in Nashville. Like, she represents...
Just by coincidence.
but she represents some major
Well, she
people.
said she was going to do that.
She would. It didn't surprise me. Let's put that
And she
out.
kept her word.
She didn't surprise me. So when I reached out to her after 25, 30 years, whatever it was, I said, hey, here's what I'm doing. You remember me? She's like, I remember you, whatever you need. And I flew down with my wife and daughter to her ranch outside Tennessee.
Awesome.
And I pitched her with the mirror guitar, which next time I'll bring. I'll show you how I
Okay.
pitched her. But she turned me on to Garth Brooks' production.
Wow.
So I went in and met with the producer of Garth Brooks' production team, which was a bunch of writers, and their major Bob music is what it's called.
That's crazy.
And so I got sort of into a system with real people, some serious musicians. We had a tight schedule, tight budget. It's not like I threw it at
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
money I could, but I threw a lot of money at it, and it was nice to hear some of the comments, because I'm convinced that when I first walked in, they're like, okay, here comes a guy. And by the time I left, they were like, these songs are unbelievable. And when I would hear a comment, my response was always, you could do it. Like when somebody says something good to me, I would say, you could do that. Because it's empowering. And most people go, no, I couldn't. I say, quit telling yourself that.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that is because I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. We all are guilty of that. But I'm like probably one of the most positive people I know. And I believe
She absolutely is.
I
Yeah.
believe that you can do anything. You can
I'm learning
do
that.
anything. You can just do anything. There are no limits. There are no boundaries. You can do anything.
Well, deep down inside, I do have that belief. And like when I walk into a room, I always feel very proud of who I am as a person. But I'm not going to go out and, unless somebody, I'll tell you.
My mom always used to say, because she believed in raising the three of us. I have two sisters, with a lot of confidence, and keep your head up and you smile and you shine. And it's not about being so super confident as much as it's being convinced. You are convinced that you are here to do great things. And that's the thing. Not that you are great, but that you're here to do great things. And that's the difference.
That's a very
It's
beautiful.
huge.
I love that your mom did that.
She did.
I mean,
and it was a great thing for me, because now it's a great thing for my kids.
If I had to really boil down the book and the story, it's about parenthood. It's about friendship. It's about all the things that make us who we are. I have this line I've just written. Is there the truth or only emotion? And it just blows my mind that what two people see is totally different, because this emotional filter gets involved. And it's been proven now. And this is stuff I'm doing that TV show I told you, so I'm coming up with, I take my brain, I keep a brain pile of all thoughts. And so this has been proven, because now, I don't know if you like sports, right? But
Sometimes.
they have this football and they have a replay. They get the replay wrong half the time. So what's supposed to be the truth, like when a ump or a referee makes a
Now-
call, there's always everybody arguing over the replay. I'm like going, how could that? Because it's always this emotion. That guy says, oh no, his foot didn't touch it. Oh, it did. And a lot of times they get it wrong. It just blows my mind. So I'm like, is there really the truth?
Now,
Or
how
is
do
it
they
just-
get the replay wrong? Do they play the wrong part of the replay?
It's interpretation of what they see.
Yeah.
It's just whether the ball hit the ground or his elbow hit. It blows my mind how often they get it. Maybe not wrong's the word, or see it differently than I see it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a better way. Wrong's not the right word.
Okay.
And I'm not the only one, because you get on any sports radio talking, or all that going, replay, I can't believe he did that. I can't. That was supposed to be the truth. And we can't find it. It's like it doesn't exist. It's unbelievable.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
So it's like the role of our emotions is this like filter of, I don't know, it just jades. It's like when a light goes through a prism and all these different colors come out. The light's true and it goes into it. Then all of a sudden, boom, this rainbow comes out. Take your pick. What's your favorite color?
You're right.
So I don't
That's
know how we got
interesting.
started talking about that.
But well, it came up. It's a good subject.
We're going to take a quick break, and Trend Radio continues right after this on 920 The Jersey.
We'd like to thank artists, where seniors are respected, choices are given, life is lived in the moment together. What's next for you? I know you have your TV show that's coming up, which we can't wait to.
Yeah, tell us about the TV
Yeah.
show.
Well, you used the word already.
Okay.
It's called Heads Up.
Awesome.
And Heads Up is as much about, feeling strong as it is heads up, like be aware because there's stuff coming. And we have to lift our heads up and see and not be afraid to see that the way we're approaching the planet is not so good. So I don't know. I'm still sort of, I did an intro I could show you on my computer later, but I'm still developing some of the things I want to do. But I want to bring people on that are positive and maybe play some music and really dive in. I want to prove that everybody, I have this other saying, I said this to my wife the first time. I go, every time I meet somebody new, I feel like I landed on an alien planet. And my wife's initial response was, that's so sad. I go, babe, not all the aliens are bad, right? Like the word alien's got this negative connotation, but it's not.
Did you see the movie?
Alien? Yeah. Well, I did see the movie. But alien's not a negative thing.
Right.
Right? So what I mean by that is like, everybody's got their own thoughts. Like you talked about your two sisters. I don't have two sisters. What a different stratosphere you grew up with. Maybe you had one dad or two stepdad, and maybe, I don't know. But it's like, I want to show, if I can do it, that everybody's interesting. Everybody's got like this unique ability to not entertain, but like have a story, have some truth, have the ability to teach.
Everybody does have a story.
But getting that out, I'm still trying, like I'm developing a questionnaire to sort of present to somebody, say, hey, answer these questions. I may draw from these, but I like to dig. And I also...
Oh my God, you must give me this questionnaire. I will take this questionnaire.
There's one guy that does it really well, is Howard Stern. But he does it sort of in an exploitive way. Like he exploits people, he tries to get out there and put them in a... Obviously, I don't want to do that. That's the most entertaining way to do it, is get somebody to tell you dirt. You know what I mean? But so there's got to be, I'm into hooks, trying to figure out the hook. So I'll figure it out.
When do you look to air? Or what are you planning?
After this, I'm going to see Sharon.
We love Sharon.
But I don't have a date. I'm hoping she's there. I do a lot of things by serendipity. I'm just going to go.
She'll be in at noon.
She'll be in at noon. Yeah.
So I'll go see her. I want to show her what I did. And again, I'm not done with that either. And
she was just on our show a couple weeks ago. So
She asked me. I was interviewed, and I brought my mirror guitar, and I was playing, and she asked me a really interesting question. She came out of her keyboard. I'd never met her. She goes, "Is that original?" And I'm like, "Wow, yeah, like that. Nobody." I think.
She sings too.
Yeah, right.
And plays guitar.
Yeah, right. No, I found that out. But it's just, for me, it was like nobody ever.
Yeah.
Because here's why that resonates with me. When I was learning how to play guitar, probably at 19, my brother had brought home the guitar, and when I started picking up, he goes, "You need to learn cover songs." And I said, "I will never learn how to play a cover song." He goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Dude, I want to figure out what's coming out of me. So I'm not going to go try to figure out Bruce Springsteen's song." So I refused to ever play a cover song, and anything I ever play on my guitar, I wrote.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so when somebody says to me, "Is that original music?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, about time somebody knows." And my brother did back down when I got back from Nashville and played him those songs. He goes, "Damn, you were right," because nobody can accuse me of...
So you have a brother. Do you have more?
I have two brothers and an older sister.
See that?
My other...
Different planet.
Yeah. My dad's gone now, which is a real bummer. But my mom's still around, and my older brother lives with my mom, so that's perfect. And everybody's still close.
Having your mother, I think, is incredible.
I'm going to make you think something really, and I say this to get a rise out of people. I think fatherhood's more important than motherhood.
Do you?
Yeah.
And you know what? I understand where you might think that.
Well, can I tell you why?
I'm waiting to hear, and then I'm going to tell you why.
And she will tell
you.
you.
Are you really anxious to hear?
I am.
Okay. Fatherhood is a choice, because the way nature is designed, we have this dump and run mentality that if a kid is put on the planet, and I should say maternal instincts are with the mother. Fatherhood is, quote unquote, more of a choice, right?
I happen to agree with that.
I happen to agree with you as well.
So a kid who is put on the planet, whose father abandons them, is like, it's in the book. This issue, not the way I'm describing it, is like a planet circling without a sun. Everybody wants their dad. And I'm not minimizing motherhood, but knowing that choice that man made to nurture you, to be your, guidance, discipline is love, all those things, is more it's such a more interesting approach than mom who's always there. Mom's maternal.
Have you ever met anybody whose mother abandoned them, though?
Yes, believe it or not.
And that is freaky. That is freaky.
That's freaky.
Because it's always assumed the bond is with the mother because the mother carries the child. And the bond is there. And how does something like that happen? So it's, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sorry to interrupt you. But
No.
for lack of better, it's amazing to me. I was not in a Big Brother program, but I semi-adopted 2 kids, my wife and I, when we didn't have children. They were around the corner, and their parents were both crack addicts. And they lived with their grandparents, who were immigrants from Italy who didn't speak any English. So they were sort of on an island all on themselves. So we took them on vacation away. They lived at the state of our house.
Awesome.
It was really cool. It was really a cool time in my life. But their mom abandoned them.
Yeah.
And I blew my mind.
I know a guy.
There's a lot of drug influence there, though. That
I would tell you that's probably a good reason.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. But I know a guy
Drugs
whose
and
mother
alcohol,
abandoned him. He lived with his dad, and his mother abandoned him, and he suffers his life. He suffers with that, and he never knew why.
Abandonment issues are huge.
Your trust issues at that point are amazing, because a mother's love and a father's love as well. I mean, I happen to have a phenomenal husband who's really, really, really on it with our kids and always has been. Really a great dad. Again, it's huge. They come to me for one thing. They go to him for another. It's 2 different
Especially
things.
if she doesn't let them do the one thing that they want to do. They go to dad.
How old are your kids?
No, that's not true. My daughter is 26. My son is 23.
Wow.
And yeah, they're great adults.
Yeah.
They've turned into amazing human beings.
Listen, that's, I always say, like, the people who choose money over love, and I'm like, when you're sitting there and you're taking your final breaths, you want to be with a pile of money, you want to be with kids that care.
Yeah.
Money is very important when you don't have it, but I will tell you this, there is nothing like having love around you and the people around you.
It's all a balance. You're balancing the money, the family, the job.
It is.
God. It's a balance of several things. I'm curious, what happened to those children that lived around the corner from
believe it or not, Maddie has 2 kids, and Petey's up in Rhode Island, single. But we don't stay in communication. I text them all the time, and
they don't respond?
Yeah, they're doing it. I don't begrudge anything, And when I say that to people who know, they always go, "Oh, that's not right of them." I go, "No, it's their lives." You know what I mean? I'm not going to judge that, and I don't know what's going on with their minds. But it's funny, when I used to take them as they got older, I'd run races, and I'd take them on these 5K races and stuff, and then we'd go to the bar afterwards, and they'd always hang out with me, and like, who are those kids? And I'm like, I met them on the internet. You know
what's amazing though? I understand, like, it's people would say, "Oh my God, I can't believe they don't," after everything you did for them. Do you know what the greatest part is? You gave a gift that could not have been returned. There is nothing greater than being able to give somebody something and they can't pay you back. That is huge.
When we see each other again soon, hopefully, or whenever, it'll be a hug and a kiss.
Absolutely.
And like they'd say, people would say, "Oh, that's so great what you do for them." I go, "You kidding me? I am.
You enjoyed doing it.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that was the best gift.
Better than 50-50.
For yourself. Yeah.
And
that was huge.
I taught how to
I'm
play.
getting teary from
I
that
played
one.
a lot of sports, so when I used to, like, they didn't have a dad. Their dad was semi-around, but he had drug issues. I would teach them how to play sports, and they became, we would go in the basement sometimes in winter and wrestle with our dog. We had a dog named Odie, the greatest dog. That was like their brother. And we would wrestle, man. And that turned into they both wanted to wrestle in high school. And that's something I never did. And I was like, oh my God, wrestling.
Look at
and
this.
I was like, dude, that's tough. And they both one became a district champ. And I was like, I went to every wrestling match.
Wrestling with your dog.
Oh my God.
It started, I think that's how it started. I don't know. I never really said, did you do this because of wrestling?
Yeah.
Because we'd all wrestle in the basement. But I couldn't have been prouder. And Matt, they're cool, but Maddie was smoking cigarettes senior year, like going out kicking butt. He'd be like, put the cigarette down, go out and pin somebody. Like, he was a cool dude. Petey was really cool too. They played football But wrestling was really there, and they really were good at it. Long Branch is the town we were living in, and the wrestling coach, Danny George, is a great coach.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. it is
Really
nice.
cool stuff you do.
Now where do we go?
Hey, let's do a heads up.
There's not a destination, only the journey.
That's true.
We say that all the time.
Yeah, it's
There
like
is no
during that
destination.
journey, or make a left turn, a right turn.
What's your guys' relationship?
We hate each other. We hate
you
each
tell?
other.
No, did you meet a long time ago? Or?
So the interesting thing is that we met through my mother-in-law. May she rest in peace.
Who I loved.
Yes, who I loved.
I do too.
I believe you.
Okay.
I said I was just going along. Yeah, I believe you. Sometimes. Pinocchio. No, I'm kidding. I love this man. So we're in the beauty industry, and I had a beauty salon, and Anthony currently has a beauty salon. I sold my salon probably about 18 years ago, and I was really struggling where I was working. And my mother-in-law said to me, Elise, go to Anthony.
Yeah.
And
That's
I was
nice.
like, okay. So I did. And here we are. And we have amazing stories, beauty industry stories, bridal industry stories. We have a fantastic
Musical stories.
Yeah, we do all kinds of events. We do all kinds of things. Now, of course, we have for the past 5 years this fabulous show that we adore.
Yep.
And this man that we love.
Big Al over here
We
makes
love
us
him.
sound better than we really are.
And then we have
I just met him and I like him.
I know. How could you not? Then we have our fabulous TV show, The Aphrodisiac Chefs. And we know Sharon. That's how we know Sharon. And we love Sharon. We love everybody
Well,
there.
I went to your
And
salon.
George.
Did you?
Yeah. Did you get my card?
Yes, I did get the card. Yes, and that's when I called you.
My gosh. I did.
And that's when I called you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Elise called up and flirted with me.
Absolutely. That's what I do. You know,
Sight
the,
unseen, by the way.
the interesting thing
It wasn't
is that-
FaceTime.
the interesting thing is it was kind of odd that you were having, I do all the scheduling. I have the calendar, and it was odd to me.
She's the brains, I'm the brawn.
It was odd to me that, he's saying, hey, by the way, this guy, da-da-da-da, and he's telling me all about you. And I'm like, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, well, I don't get it. Why didn't this go through me? It was like, what are you doing? It was just very
My
funny.
mind was elsewhere.
And he's like, well, just here. Call him from my phone.
I thought it was a setup. I thought it was
he's like, call him from my phone, and I purposely did that. We purposely did that
I know.
because you had
I answered
his
the
number.
phone. Hey, Anthony, what's
No,
up?
he answered the phone. Anthony Vincent. And I said, no.
And I said,
It's
set up.
It was very funny.
But we have
And
to
then-
thank Chuck McEnroe.
And I love Chuck. We love Chuck.
Chuck was our first introduction
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
when we pitching our show, and
Yeah.
he was very, very pleasant.
And we love George.
George, yeah.
A big kudos out there to George.
Yeah, George is a great
awesome.
guy. When we pitched our idea, I think there was like 5 or 6 people there. 3 of them got up and walked out.
The best
Really?
thing. Yeah, it was a little.
It's kind of Princeton-y.
So
We are
the-
anything but Princeton.
the
You're
funny-
fringy.
We are. We're fringe. The funniest thing was we were talking about Princeton TV for so long, and finally, I made the phone call, and I'm looking, and I put it in my phone, and I already had George McCullough in my phone. I already met him a few years prior
Oh,
to that.
really? Wow.
Yeah, at one of those events that I went to.
It was a card exchange.
nice.
Yeah.
business
networking.
working.
Yeah.
So I
Then
already
that's
had
what-
everything there. And I look at the phone and we're calling. I'm like, and we're looking at it and we're seeing his number already on my phone. I'm like, oh my
that
God.
cool? Yeah.
It's already in the phone. It was like kismet. You
Yeah,
know?
we believe that whatever happens, good or bad, is meant to happen just the way it happens, whether it's the way you want it to happen or not.
And it's how
I'm
you
learning
react.
that lesson, man.
It's
Yeah.
how you react to it.
Yeah.
You have a choice.
Your choice.
It's your choice to.
Also the voices, because I say there's 4 voices. Outside voices, 2 of them, good and bad. Inside voices, good and bad. And it depends
then
how
Anthony
you...
has 8.
Yes, I have several
Well,
personalities.
he's a dual
that,
personality
Oh,
kind
well,
of guy.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
where you and I just might have 2 personalities. He has 4, and then each one
That
of
means he
his
has 16.
each one of his personalities has a personality, and then some. There's a lot going on
But
here.
they're all nice guys.
Right.
Well, I went out to see George, and he treated me real well.
He's a good guy.
I didn't have anybody walk out. Maybe I wasn't as specific as you.
We're pretty specific.
But
Yeah.
it's really interesting what we can do, and I don't know. I just wish that we could all come together and come to some understanding that what's good for me is good for you, and what's good for you is good for me at some level.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? And
Give peace a chance.
well, I don't even know about peace, but I do know about like dealing with the planet, because we are just causing a ruckus
Oh yeah.
that's just unhealthy. And if you have kids, you have to be aware. It's
You
just awareness.
think differently. Yes, and you're right. You have to be aware.
Listen, nature conservation. I didn't have to have kids to think like that, but certainly I became more vested once my child was brought onto the planet, and it's just, I don't know. It's scary.
You're
It's
absolutely
scary.
right.
If
I
you
love
really
this
want to look
business
at it, it's
card,
scary.
by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's so cute.
What is it?
It's a guitar pick.
Oh,
A heart-shaped guitar pick.
and what's it say on it?
It says, okay, got it. Here's the commercial. One Shot Billy.
.com.
Aim. No, it's
Yeah.
aimonYou.com.
Yeah, aim on you. That's a tagline in the story.
I love that. Aim on you. Wow.
The story's about Cupid.
That's huge.
The bow and arrow Cupid.
That is absolutely aimonYou.com.
The story's
You
about
need to look
Cupid.
that up, everybody. aimonYou.com.
So tell us a little bit about the story then.
I wrote the story after I wrote a song. A fella asked me to write a Christmas song for him. And first time anybody ever asked that of me. Nobody really knew I wrote songs mostly, even in my business career. And he lived across the street. And he grew up with Bruce Springsteen, so he's still banging around Asbury Park, doing his things, very talented.
What's his name?
Ricky Eldridge. So he said, oh, I didn't tell him I played guitar and wrote songs for many years. I'd follow him around to his shows. And one day he's outside on his porch, and he lives in a house we call the Mushroom because it's just falling down.
The mushroom. I love that.
And he's playing this old acoustic guitar. And I look out my window. I see this guitar, and I walk across the street. I go, what's that? He's like, oh, it's a 1947 Martin. And if you know about guitars, Martin's like, you know, a cool
I know
acoustic
nothing.
guitar. So I go, wow, dude. I go, because you wouldn't think he's got this collection in his house, which is basically falling down. And
Who's going to protect the guitars?
And the guitars are worth more than the house, probably. Yeah.
well, the properties were suck as a block off the beach. Just,
Ah.
okay.
But he goes, you want to hold it? And I took that as a little bit of an insult. I go, dude, how about I play it?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, right? So I started playing the song I was writing. He's like, what's that? I go, that's the song I'm writing. He goes, you write songs? I didn't even know you play guitar. I've known you for like, you know. So that, he started taking interest. And then I started writing songs to impress him.
Oh.
And he was like, wow, dude, you got to do it. How many songs you got? I said, oh, a couple hundred. I said, I could play them all out of my head right now. He goes, you're kidding me. Because he's the artist that comes and goes. I pour over every word so it can stick in my head, right? The lyrics are really important to me, right? So he said, can you write a Christmas song? And it gave me like 2 weeks before Christmas. I'm like, I can't write a song unless it means something. It's got to start in my toes. It's got to be an emotion. It's not a, sometimes I could dream songs sometimes, but so I couldn't write it in time, but I never gave up. And like 2 weeks after Christmas, I wrote a song called Typical Christmas. And the words, inspiration running high, a dead man rose and touched the sky. And even though no witness spoke, the word spread of a Holy Ghost. Mother Nature pushed aside, held the hand of Father Time. Everyone was so surprised the Savior had arose. But the world keeps spinning round and round, and he just won't come down. Expectations running high. He was born on this December night. Everyone's still asking why, hoping he'd come back alive to give us faith in what we do, to help us find some reasons to da-da-da-da-da, right?
Wow.
So it's all about, you know, Christmas has become this commercial, it's not a new concept, but commercial. At the end, it's like, hey, man, we need health, not revenue. I don't need more business ties. Meaning that it's all about,
Sure.
you know, trying to conquer us. But the line that stood with me and stuck out was, Mother Nature pushed aside, held the hand of Father Time. I was like, wow. You know, when Jesus came upon the planet, that man-made religion, no offense to anyone,
None taken.
mowed down all the cultures that prayed to the sun god, the wind god, and all those guys. And I was like, wow, like this. So I started saying, Mother Nature just stood there looking down, going, what? You guys used to pray to me. Now you're praying to this man-made deity, which is all good. But why in the stained glass windows aren't there more animals? You know what I mean? Why in all this theology isn't there more about nature? It's all about man-made stuff. So I said, okay, what's her relationship with Father Time? And I go, maybe it's her son. Maybe it's her older son. And I started thinking, okay, if she runs this business called Earth Management Systems, and Father Time is her son, and he works for her as the Department of Synchronicity, perfect synchronicity, spinning,
Sure.
everything's precision, precise. Who else do you need to run the planet? And I go, wow, what about ebb and flow, the chaotic atmosphere and ocean tide? That would be the man in the moon. And I'm going, wow, that's really cool. So you have Mother Nature as, let's say, the CEO and the mom. It's a family business. Father Time as the Department of Synchronicity, the man in the moon, the Department of Ebb and Flow, right? Who else do you need? I go, holy smokes. You just need somebody to manage the humans. Who's that? I said, it's Cupid. So I go, and it worked out perfectly because he was the baby son, arrested development, but there was a problem. His job was not just to shoot arrows to make people fall in love. His job was always quality control. But because their father was not in the house, and I won't tell you why, the mom turned into a doting mom. Her kids could do no wrong. It was easy for Father Time, precise, because he had all the algorithms, everything ran. Man in the moon, ebb and flow is crazy, so his quality control didn't matter. But for her youngest son, who she doted upon, who took the loss of their father the greatest, she could not do anything but support him. So, but finally, it came to a point where this imbalance, like there were more takers than givers in a town called Fairhaven. So in a town called Fairhaven, the study came back, there's more takers than givers. Think about that. It's not unfair haven, it's Fairhaven. Now, to give you more insight, I grew up in Fairhaven. That's the name of the town I grew up in. I did everything in my power to change the name of the town in this book, but I couldn't do it. So she says, you got to go out and start to make givers fall in love. That's your job. And he invents a superhero to go do it. Things don't turn out the way they're supposed to. At the end, he learns this really important lesson through the power of giving. Like he comes out from his own cloud, because he can't find a girl. He's searching for his own love. He's a hopeless romantic. He's totally self-absorbed character. When he finally gets out of his own world and looks up and sees that he's got a duty to try to help everyone, and he focuses on her, that he realizes what it means and what his role really is on the planet. So that's a story about Cupid all grown up.
The Musical Adventure of One Shot Billy by James D. Scanlon. You guys, you got to look this up. You got to read this.
Yeah, I can't like wait to read the book now.
I'm going to read it first.
I know that because you're selfish.
I wrote it for all. You guys going to fight over it?
We don't fight.
I wrote it for all ages. But I did gear it down towards a younger audience because I think that's really the way to make an impact is on younger minds.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And the other thing on that website is all the songs. So you can listen to all the songs and all the character sketches. Like I had like an artist sketch all the characters. So they're listed on the website too.
So everybody, just put in oneshotbilly.com. You'll see
just
James.
One Shot Billy in Google. That should do it.
Okay. Taking a quick break. Trend Radio continues after this on 920 The Jersey.
We'd like to thank the team at Artis, a family of open-minded, compassionate, and dedicated individuals who have experienced dementia in their own families. Together, they've created a nurturing environment tailored to each resident's unique needs.
Now, how long have you been with your wife? High school? College?
No. That's another. I wish I wrote this story down, but I met my wife under these really unique circumstances. And do you want to hear real quick? Or
Sure.
Abbreviated?
Yeah.
Do you know The Hunt? Do you remember The Hunt? Do you remember the steeplechase, The Hunt in Far Hills? There's one in Middletown as well, but it's a...
One of my girlfriends was actually talking about that.
Yeah, The Hunt is like a steeplechase that all
crazy.
like corporate
Donna.
sponsors come and people park their cars on. It's a valley. And down in the middle is like all the steeplechase race for horses, right? It's a horse race. And like people take parking spots and it turns into like corporate sponsorships with tents and caviar and all these things. So I was I guess I was 30 something, early 30s. And I'd been going there in my work. And one of my partners was like, hey, don't come back to our spot because my wife will be entertaining with your hooligan buddies. Right? So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't fly good with me, right? So unbeknownst to my hooligan buddies, who aren't hooligans, they're just, single guys like me.
Right.
I said, we got to stop by a submarine shop to buy a sub. I'm going to get a tuna sub in a brown paper bag with heavy oil and vinegar because I'm going to show up with this greasy bag and sit at their place and eat it, right?
Hooligan you.
Yeah.
So that was my game plan. No, I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. Now, if you know the hunt, you get off the train, I don't know, Martinsville or something, you walk through a field and, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And no sooner there, and eventually like 4,000 people will get there, but it's early and we're there early and there's people, and a girl walks by me and goes, what's in the bag? I'm like, you hungry? She goes, yeah. So I start talking to her. Now it's the beginning of the day. We are armed and dangerous. We have every line available to mankind to hit on women, right? And I'm looking, she's got a cowboy hat on, glasses, cowboy boots on, and I'm like talking to her.
Does.
And I'm talking to her. And after I'm done with her, all my buddies come running up. Wow, did you get her number? She's beautiful. I go, nah. I said, it's early. It was, what are you talking about? I go, dude, whatever. It's the
Did you
beginning
share
of
your
the-
sub with her?
Huh?
Did you share your sub with her?
No, it was hit and run. It was hit and run. So now we're embarking on a full day of partying, right?
Okay.
Full day. We're just going to be there all day. I couldn't drink. I couldn't laugh. And I didn't know why. I was like, I couldn't. And everybody said, you all right?
She stunned you.
I don't know. But I'm finally realizing, like,
She stunned
man,
you.
I should have got that chick's number, right? So, and it went on. I'm there 7 hours, right? Just hanging out. People are like, usually they called me the ripcord at that point in my life where I'm introducing everybody to,
Yeah.
everybody. So, and I'm laying low, and finally it's over. So I'm like, all right, let's get out of here, right? So all of a sudden my buddy taps me on the shoulder and said, dude, there she is. I go, you kidding me? So now out of all these thousands of people, there she is. And I go down to her, I go,
You ran, I hope.
I can't remember everything, but I'm like, you remember me? She goes, yeah. I said, my name's Jim from the Jersey Shore. Where are you from? She goes, I'm from New York. What's your name? My name's Veronica. I said, I need your number. She goes, I don't give my number out. I said, I need your number. She goes, I don't give my number out. And now she's walking back to get to her place because I don't even know why she was there. She was there all alone in like the middle of an open. It was a really weird why she was
looking for
there.
you.
I don't know.
Cupid.
So I badgered her. I said, you do not know who you're talking to. I said, you got to give me your number, and you do not know who you're talking to. I said, I don't know why, but you got to give me your number. And I broke her. She finally goes, 914-948-6890. And I'm like, great, nice to meet you. Now, this is before cell phones, so I'm like, nice to meet you. I'm trying to brand this.
Okay, you're great.
Right?
That's
I'm trying
great.
to brand this in my head. So now, I'm like, okay, I got this girl's number. And, I'm like, it's just another girl, I guess, right? But I create this character called the Monday Night Caller. And I call her every Monday night. When I get done, I was writing songs like crazy then. Anyway, I call her every Monday night. She never calls me back. So I have now a week to think up material to leave this goof. I'd say stuff like, all the other boys are out watching Monday football. Not me. I got my head in the oven now, clean. I'd say, and I'd be so nervous, man. I'd fall against the bed and this crazy stuff is flying out of my head, right? All this crazy nonsense flying out of my head. And it went on for months. And she never called me back. And I finally wrote, how did this go down? Oh, I would call her when I got home from work. And I wrote a song called Hideaway, who I still love this song. And my little brother used to help me. He played keyboards. So I said, dude, I want to come home. We had a little studio at home. And I missed the call. So I didn't make the call till later that night. Right? Now, she hadn't called me back for months and months. So I call late because I can't miss Monday night. She picks up. I go, oh, my God. I go, Miss Veronica? She goes, yeah. I go, this is Jim from the Jersey Shore. And I hung up.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So
call you
then
right
I
back?
knew, no. So then I knew that I would have to call late in order to get her because she had whatever. She wasn't home when I was home. So I think I called the next night, and I go, and I waited, and I called her. I said, Miss Veronica, I go, yeah. I said, before we get started, I want to know one thing. Do the girls at work think the Monday Night Caller is funny or a killer? She goes, they think he's funny. So that embarked on this mission of me wanting to date this girl. But that's just the beginning of the story, because she had just ended her relationship, and she had sworn off men. She just wanted to grow herself. Didn't want to be.
We are awful.
Right? So I go, yeah, that's the kind of girl I want. Right? Because ultimately, I'll just skip to the end, but there's a lot of things that happened beyond that where it was crazy. And we went on a date. It was terrible, all that. And I totally thought it was my fault because I wasn't funny and I couldn't live up to that character. And she, we both took the hit. And when I finally called her back, I said, listen, it's too much. I was in love with her just from talking, because we talked on the phone a lot before when we got together. It was like we didn't even recognize each other because so many months had passed. Right. And then we're sort of in love, and then you have to kiss a person that you think you know, but you don't. It was really a weird vibe. But when it finally came down there, we had this date. We went to bowling ice rink. What is that called in Central Park? I forget the name. But it just didn't work out like we were hoping it would. And I called her that Sunday night, and I said, listen, she goes, I can't talk about it tonight. Let's just talk tomorrow night. So when I called her up, knowing that I was gonna, just say, this is it. We gave it a great shot. It was an unbelievable ride. It was like this high octane. I said, listen, I got her on the phone. I said, listen. She goes, no, before you talk, let me talk. I go, okay. She goes, I'm so sorry that I wasn't a great date. I feel totally responsible for the bad time we had. And she just took all the blame. I go, do you want to be my girlfriend? And she's like, yes. I go, then I'm coming to the city tomorrow, and we're going to have a parade. We're going to march, me and you march. So I took the train to the city the next day, and I said, you're my girlfriend. And that's it. And it was I remember trying to, it was the strangest, most awesome. I fell in love with a brain on the phone. And then all the other stuff had to lead to it. And it was just really, and there's more ups and downs before that whole process, because she had a ski house, I had a ski house. But I tell you, the first time I really laid eyes on her at a place called the Night Spot. She brought her girlfriends, I brought my girlfriends. The first time I was going to see her, she had stars in her eyes. I swear to God. Like, I looked in that woman's eyes, and there were like stars. And I'm like going, damn, it was unbelievable.
I just like that she wanted to know what was in the bag. Didn't know who you were, but what's in the bag?
Dude, my wife is awesome. My wife, if every girl could be awesome. Like you and her.
He's a smart man too, this one.
No, my wife is like, she knows how to roll with it. Like, if I go out with my friends and I say, they all want my wife to come because she knows how to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's cool. She knows how to sit there, and a lot of my friends are single too, and she's like, help out. She's there to help, not to, sit and hold court. So,
how old were you when you guys met? When she asked what was in the bag?
She was 29. I was 33. She was 29.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So listen, it's important to know who you are before you pick a mate. And
Absolutely.
She had been engaged. I had been engaged, and we both at the last minute said, "This is crazy."
Because it wasn't right.
And that was like something, and honestly, I was heartbroken over that girl, but it was that's the other thing about your brain. The worst things that happen to you are the best things that happen to you. It's just, and nothing against that girl, because she's a wonderful woman, but right. It wasn't meant. We forced it. There was a lot of momentum because I met her at work. She was a lot younger. I was in a totally different headspace, and she's a wonderful girl. But it's just, it was being forced, It was being forced. And then the magic, I wasn't letting the magic happen.
We're going to take a quick break, and Trend Radio continues right after this on 920 The Jersey.
We'd like to thank Artis, a beautiful acronym. A, for the ability to have a voice. R, respecting and maintaining relationships. T, treasuring each person's uniqueness. I, for integrity. And S, for success and recognition. The Artis way.
Are we at the end of our program?
What do you want to get out there in the next 3 minutes?
I would like to get out there that I just made 3 new friends. And that to me is really important as anything, because I know that at the end of the day, it's all about trying to surround yourself with great people.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I am a shut-in a lot. I've always been the guy that sits in the room, and I'm happy to be by myself. I'm happy to be by
It's
myself.
good that you like yourself, though, enough to be with yourself.
I know people that don't like to be by themselves, and I have a hard time understanding. They're always calling, you want to go out? You want to go? I don't want to hang out. You know?
Yeah, I know people like that also. They just can't be within themselves.
Well, partly it's because I'm always writing. I'm always doing something. I'm always thinking. I'm always trying to figure stuff out. I have this thirst for figuring things out, which is hard in a world filled with cheese. I wrote a song for my daughter, No More Cheese, Please. And I'm so happy. You know who Bo Burnham is?
He wrote the book, something about Where's the Cheese? Or...
No. Bo Burnham's a comedian who's insane.
Oh, okay.
And I know what you're talking about.
Who moved my cheese?
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
business book.
Thank
I
you.
know.
It's a business
But
book.
Bo Burnham is a guy. Look up Bo Burnham, and he's raunchy, but you guys won't mind that. But he is an absolute walking genius. He writes raps and music. He's a beautiful pianist, but he's a comedian.
Right.
And I'll turn you on to Bo Burnham. So that's the kind of, like, I aspire to being a smart brain individual who's trying to help. And it's amazing when you get out into the world how much mediocrity so many people are being fed. And it's a bummer, because if all of the, like your shows, you're trying to get into the better things, like all the stuff we find on the networks and stuff, it's so dumbed down, and people are smarter than that. I wish that somebody could ratchet up the intelligent level on all the major networks, all the cable TVs, and not show this crap that's dumbing down the people.
You know, my daughter just said that. She said that the other day. She's the TED Talks queen. She loves it. She said that the other day. She doesn't understand what's all the dumb stuff about.
Yeah, it's the low hanging fruit that, you know, it's based on economics, and, you know, they can get eyeballs, like the click stuff and all that. Anyway, that's another conversation for another day. I want to thank you so much.
Oh,
really,
it was our pleasure. Remember, everybody, the musical adventure of One Shot Billy. Just Google One Shot Billy.
You've been listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. You want more? Go right to our website, 920thejersey.com, click on demand, and scroll directly to us.
And get the lowdown on getting down. Tune into your bad boy inside you.
Or your bad girl.
Listen each week. We always have something sexy to say. Got questions? Email us now at trendradio920@gmail.com. You'll be glad you did.
And remember, your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card.
But how you make people feel? Well, that becomes your trademark.
I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye for now.
And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m., PrincetonTV.org, and watch us cook with love. Elise and I are the Aphrodisiac Chefs.
And you'll love it.